Part 98. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 983. An escaping light as fast as a meteor fell into the pine forest on the top of Yuntai Mountain. The light dissipated, and an old Taoist wearing a blue Taoist robe walked out. He was none other than Taoist Su Zhen, one of the 3 immortals of Yuntai. Quickly walking into the wooden house in the pine forest, Wuozi and Yulin Zhenren, who were meditating inside, opened their eyes at the same time. Uncle Wu, Uncle Yulin. No need to be polite, come forward quickly. Taoist Su Zhen came to the futon in front and sat down. What did Wang Chongyang and Song Feng say? Taoist Su Zhen shook his head. They refused. Reject? Why did they refuse? Can't you see that Nanzan Buzhu is now standing on the crater? If it goes wrong, it will lead to the destruction of the sect and the section master, Yulin said angrily. Even Wuozi couldn't help but look disappointed at this moment. Ever since Chongshan Academy defeated the demon sect's conspiracy in front of Sanjiazi and beheaded Wuxian demon ancestor in Zhongdu City, Kongshan's prestige has surpassed that of the witches and demons, and is close to that of Buddhism and Taoism. Under the prestige, Chongshan Academy did not choose to expand in a big way, but only digested the occupied area. 180 years down. They have established a stable order on 1/3 of the land in Nanzan continent. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Chongshan is accumulating strength. If it breaks out, it will definitely swallow up the entire Nanzan continent. Chongshan is not the only one who is thinking about Nanzan Buzhu. After the Buddhist journey to the west began, everyone knew their purpose. Countless people speculate that when Tang Santang took back the scriptures from Dalian Temple, it was the time when Buddhism and Chongshan were fighting. Therefore, many casual cultivators have left Nanzan continent to avoid being affected by the war. In this context of panic, Yuntai Immortal sect was determined to merge with Quanzhen Taoism, which came from the same lineage of Zhongnan Mountain. As a result, they have 5 De Luo celestial immortals sitting in charge, and they have a stronger foundation. They will lead the Dongsheng Shenzhou Dao sect in the next hundreds of thousands of years. Even in order to win over Wang Chongyang and Taoist Song Feng, the 3 were willing to use Quanzhen Taoism as the name of the new sect. Under such circumstances, they have no reason to refuse. They didn't give a reason, but the disciples estimate that they wanted to see the battle situation between Buddhism and Chongshan before making a decision. Stupid, Chongshan Academy and Buddhism are not stupid, they will give Quanzhen Dao fishermen a chance to profit, Master Yulin said angrily. Junior brother, please be patient. No, I want to go to Zhongnan Mountain in the Tang dynasty. Junior brother. After calling the Taoist from Yulin, Wuozi sighed. Wang Chongyang and Song Feng are both talented people. How could they not understand the key? The reason why they rejected us is probably that they have already aligned themselves with Buddhism. Master Yulin was stunned. Quanzhen Taoism has turned to Buddhism. Wuozi nodded slowly. Although Chongshan Academy is a part of my Taoist sect, in terms of its laws, it is more like a country. The lower court, the middle court, the upper court, and the general court are a complete training system that holds almost the entire population in its hands. It directly cuts off the channels for each sect to replenish new blood. Without new disciples joining, no matter how strong the sect is, it will decline. Nanzan Buzhu has various sections. As long as you are not a fool, you can see that joining Chongshan is a slow suicide. On the contrary, although Buddhism intends to look south to the continent, it is not like Chongshan Academy, which eats up all the people. It will leave a certain amount of space for the various sections. Coupled with the fact that Zinyu Hezhuzuyu is in front of them, they will naturally turn to Buddhism. After listening to this, Master Yulin gradually calmed down. Aren't they afraid that Buddhism will collapse in front of Chongshan and they will get nothing? Of course they are afraid. So they will make 2 preparations. For example, before the war with Chongshan, they will divert the core disciples to Dongsheng Shenzhou, Zini Yuhez Hu, or Beijuluz Hu. Even if they lose Nanzan Buzz Hu, they will not as for the extermination faction. Or just join Chongshan sect like the Yunu sword sect did. The UNV sword sect is the main sect of the Dayo Empire in Nanzan Buzz Hu. Its sect leader, Feri Yujian, has become the Taoist companion of Chen Lin, the sixth disciple of Su Junming, the headmaster of Chongshan Academy. The entire Yunu sword sect also joined Chongshan Academy. The Dai Viet Empire also became part of Chongshan. Of the 11 empires in Nanzan continent with a territory exceeding 1 trillion miles, only 9 are left now. Senior brother, is this the matter of merging Quanzhen? Unless Chongshan wins, Wang Chongyang and Songlin will not agree. He waved his hand and motioned for the two of them to sit down. Uncle, if Chongshan and Buddhism fight, who do you think will win in the end? Taoist Su Zhen asked. Before the demons were exterminated in Chongshan, I would have definitely turned to Buddhism, but now Weozi shook his head, I don't know either. Chongshan Academy always hides its strength. No one knows if they have more Delugo Celestials or Delugo True Immortals. For a moment, the atmosphere in the room became solemn. Senior brother, is there any new news from Tushita Palace? Weozi shook his head. It was peaceful. It seems that the Supreme Patriarch really doesn't care about my Taoist section Master Yulin side. Uncle, Master, does Taizhang Taoist Patriarch have any relationship with Chongshan Academy? Why did you issue a decree prohibiting Dongsheng Shenzhou Taoist sect from participating in Nanzan Buzz Hu? Taoist Su Zhen said. Weozi and Master Yulin looked at each other and shook their heads. If Dazu has something to do with Chongshan, he should come out to help them resist Buddhism. If he says it doesn't matter, then he issued an edict not to allow us to invade Nanzan Buzz Hu. It's really puzzling. Weozi waved his hand. No matter what the relationship is between Daoziu and Chongshan Academy, we just need to follow the order. Master Yulin and Taoist Su Zhen nodded. By the way, doesn't Buddhism say that monk Tang will go through 81 hardships on his journey to the west? How difficult is it now? We have surrendered Tang monk's second disciple Zhu Beiji at Jailazwang. According to Buddhist teachings, this is the 12th difficulty. The next step is the 13th difficulty, Taoist Su Zhen said. The 13 difficulties, at this rate, will be the period of the war between Chongshan and Buddhism in at most 20 years. While Weozi sighed, there was a hint of expectation in his eyes. He wanted to know how much power was hidden under the calm surface of Chongshan Academy. Snapped. A round sunspot fell on the chessboard. The great immortal chess is still better. Zhen Yuanzi smiled and put the remaining chess pieces back on the table. If fellow Taoists hadn't deliberately compromised, it wouldn't have been easy for the old Taoist to win. You're welcome, great immortal. Zhang Sanfan smiled, took out a blue and white porcelain vase from the red gourd at his waist, and handed it over. Master knows that the great immortal needs a soul-replenishing elixir, so he asked me to send this bottle of 3 UN soul-replenishing pill to the great immortal. Zhen Yuanzi's eyes lit up and he reached out to take it. After opening it and sniffing it, his eyes showed a hint of joy. Although this 3 UN Gu soul pill is only a middle-grade Delugo pill, its medicinal properties are extremely pure and is almost the best among the pills of the same level. And the number is 9, which is not too small. Thank you for me, Master. Junior will definitely bring it. After Zhen Yuanzi nodded, he opened his palm and a jade box appeared in front of him. There are 2 spiritual materials for refining the 3 UN soul pill and 3 middle grade Delugo ginseng spiritual fruits. You can hand them over to him for me. In addition, tell him for me that if he encounters difficulties in the ancient world in the future, he can go to the Wuzhuang of Wanchao Mountain in Zizhu to look for me. Junior will definitely tell you. He took the elixir and ginseng fruit, carefully put them away, and stood up. This junior has to go back to resume his duties, so I'll take my leave now. Good journey. After Zhang Sanfan bowed, he left Wuzhuang Temple under the leadership of Qingfeng Minjiao. Watching his leaving figure, Zhen Yuanzi stroked his beard with his right hand and showed admiration on his face. The ability of Su Junming's disciples is indeed extraordinary. Qin Zhong, Lin Zhengying, Qiao Shaoxin, Su Huang, Sun Shi, and others are famous and extraordinary. Even the ninth disciple Zhang Junbao, who is not famous, is also a great Luo Tianxian. It is even more rare to have a calm mind, modesty, and grace, and a graceful manner in his actions, which is very rare. I hope that this time, fellow Taoist Tongtian will not repeat the mistakes of the medieval times. After sighing, he waved his right hand and the figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already in a 1,000-foot-long palace. In the center of the hall is a bagua platform with a diameter of 30 feet. There is a 3-foot red cloud floating in the middle of the bagua platform, and a red gourd floating in the red cloud. As if aware of Zhen Yuanzi's arrival, the red cloud floated up in an instant, and within a moment, it transformed into an old man wearing a bright red Taoist robe, slightly fat, with red hair, and kind eyes. "Old friend, I got another bottle of San Yuan Gu Po Dan. Although it is only a medium-grade medicine, it has excellent medicinal properties." The old man in red robe took the elixir from Zhen Yuanzi's hand, looked at it and smiled. It seems that this fellow Taoist Su's alchemy skills have improved again. Zhen Yuanzi nodded and said, "If he hadn't provided the elixir, I would have been forced to agree to Tathagata's conditions and let the Sun Wukong knock down the ginseng fruit tree, and I would have sworn brotherhood with him." Shaked his head. "In this case, I will lose my face greatly. Alas! It's all because of me that fellow Taoist monks suffered such humiliation." "What are you talking about, old friend? If my Taoist friends hadn't sacrificed their lives to save me back then, I would have fallen into Zhu Yan's hands. Where would I be today? What's more, my old friend and I have been together for hundreds of millions of years, and our love is as deep as the ocean. Now that my old friend is in trouble, there is no reason for me to stand by and watch. The only pity is that Kun Peng, Ming He, Lei Ziyi and others forced them too much, and they had to hide in the immortal world. Their spiritual energy is limited and their recovery is slow." Zhen Yuanzi shook his head. "Old friend Zhen Yuan must blame himself. If I hadn't been hiding in this immortal world, I'm afraid I would have been killed by those thieves. It doesn't matter if it's this or that, compared to the trembling world of the prehistoric times, the earthly immortal world is more comfortable. Don't worry, old friend, I will find a way to restore your soul in the future," Zhen Yuanzi said. Although the old man in red robe smiled and nodded, he had already given up hope in this matter. His remnant soul would have been extinct long ago if it weren't for the suppression of the top-notch innate spiritual treasure 99 soul-removing gourd and the help of Zhen Yuanzi's search for soul essence and soul-repairing elixir. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 984. After leaving Wuzhuang Temple with the spiritual materials, not long after Zhang Sanfan left Wanchao Mountain, a ray of light came rushing towards him. Soon he fell in front of Zhang Sanfan. This is a middle-aged Taoist wearing a green gown, with a bun on his head, a long sword on his back, and a calm expression. "Master, I brought him here." With a slap on the gourd on his waist, two children flew out. The older one is 7 or 8 years old, and the younger one is 4 or 5 years old. They have pink makeup and gorgeous clothes, which shows that they are not ordinary children. They are all innate Dao bodies, so they have good qualifications. The innate Taoist body, also known as the innate Taisu Taoist body, is a Taoist qualification second only to the innate gods. Even in the earthly immortal world, this kind of qualification is not common. Are these two the sons of Na Kuei Mulan and Bai Hua 11? Yes. After nodding slightly. Let's go and bring them back to the academy. If they can pass the test, they will be accepted as disciples. If they are not qualified enough, let them grow up under my guidance, Chongshan. After Yu Dayan nodded, he put away the two children and followed his master towards Nanzan Buzhu. Living in Chongshan by the creation spirit pond, Su Junming put the elixir brought back by Zhang Sanfan into the Tiangong Hall. Did you ask him to save Kuimulang and Baiwaxi's son? Chen Xianzang asked. Nodded. Throughout journey to the west, these two children are the most pitiful. Just because of the grudges between their parents, they were beaten to death by Sun Wukong and Zhu Beiji. It just so happened that this time Junbao went to Wuzhuang Temple, which is not far from Baoxiang Kingdom, so he brought people back by the way. I just didn't expect these two little guys to be quite qualified. Chen Xianzang sat down cross-legged. You don't plan to accept that red boy. The three-flavored true fire is an innate spiritual fire. That naughty kid is naughty and not worth wasting time, Su Junming said. There was a pause. Didn't you go to recruit a disciple? Did you find one? Shaked his head. It's not that easy. You are too ambitious. You insist on finding an innate god as your disciple. Although the earthly immortal world is a vast world, how many innate gods are there? If not, how can we catch up with your disciples quickly? It's impossible for all your disciples to be Deluo, and mine is still Tai Yi. This is too embarrassing, Chen Xianzang said. It's up to you. But if you can wait, when the nine-color spiritual fetus has accumulated enough spiritual energy, you can enlighten it again. Then we have to wait until the year of the monkey and the month of the horse. All the spiritual energy in the nine-color spiritual fetus has been absorbed by Su Heshu, and now there is only an empty shell left. Even if there is Taoist innate spiritual energy on the creation spirit island to nurture it, it will take hundreds of millions of years to create it. Of course, it would be another matter if Su Junming was willing to use his primordial innate fundamental energy to conceive and nurture him. I'd better wait and look for it in the prehistoric world. It has a vast territory, rich spiritual energy, and there must be many talents. Su Junming smiled and said, I originally wanted to give this Hichu Luashu to my nephew as a meeting gift, but it seems that it is no longer needed. Opening his palms, a pair of tortoise shells and a scroll emerged. Have you fixed it? Back in Kongsang Mountain, after Hichu Luashu was slashed by him with the Qingping sword, he was put away by Su Junming. After all, it is a mid-grade Deluo Lingbao, so it cannot be wasted. It's not a difficult matter. It has been fixed a long time ago. Just throw it over. Take it. Whenever you accept a disciple, give it to him. Why do I sound like you're asking for help? Are you ready to survive the tribulation? My martial arts training has been completed, and my chi training has already reached the perfection of Tai Golden Immortal. I can't make any progress in my Taoist training. Staying here is just a waste of time. What about the battle between Chongshan and Buddhism? They will definitely come after the journey to the west. Chongshan Academy will not see Buddhism introduced to Nanzan Buzhu, and Buddhism does not want Nanzan Buzhu to lose this fat piece of fat to Chongshan. The conflict between the two parties is irreconcilable, so of course they have to go through it. There are only 3 Buddhist Deluo true immortals, Tathagata, Maitreya, and Zen Master Wacheo, and I, Chongshan, are you, Lao San and Lao Wu. With your strength and spiritual treasures, you will definitely not be defeated. Deluo Celestial Immortal, all of my second-generation disciples of Chongshan, except Sun Er, have achieved success. There are 17 of them, and they can completely suppress the Buddhism, Nanzan tribe, Suanmen, Monster Clan, and Wu Clan together. And I have also equipped them with enough elixirs and magic weapons. If we are so well prepared and still fail in the end, then Chongshan Academy can also announce its dissolution. As for me, even if a Tai Golden Immortal stays, I won't be able to help much. I might as well go through the tribulation. Chen Xianzang nodded. After a while. Will the Queen Mother of the West really come to her? I don't know. But my guess is not wrong. Even if it wasn't the Queen Mother of the West, the bronze mirror would have changed a lot. Smiled. Don't worry, even if I die. As long as you are here and Chongshan world is here, I will be resurrected. Chen Xianzang sighed. Having said that, how can it be so easy to get back 4,000 years of cultivation? It's better than losing your life, Su Junming said. After Chen Xianzang nodded, we are all inferior in strength. If we have the cultivation of Deluo Jingxian now, we might be able to get the Chaos Bell. When the time comes, there is no need to be afraid of Queen Mother of the West. The atmosphere fell silent. Forget it, I don't want to think about it anymore. If the soldiers come to block the water and the soil, there is still a way to retreat, Su Junming said. Suddenly, the Hunyuan Divine Gate began to tremble. The two looked at each other. Su Junming waved his sleeves, the Hunyuan Divine Gate shone brightly, and they walked in. When he reappeared, he was already in a vast world. In the center of the world, there is a magnificent 12-story golden pagoda floating, as well as a Tai Chi diagram that is millions of feet wide. Emperor's Tower, Qinkan diagram. You are here. Ao Tian flew over. Are you ready? Su Junming asked. The main world and the 3,000 small thousand worlds have reached their peak. In addition, the Black Lotus demon realm has been completely refined. The spiritual energy is stored in the Emperor's Tower. With them, it is enough to support the world through the tribulation. Su Junming nodded and pointed at the Hunyuan Divine Gate. The latter instantly turned into a giant. Thousands of space landmarks are lit up. Renwiji, Long Di, and Suda appeared first. Boss, why did you summon us? Renwiji had to guard the chaos clock, so he had no choice but to come here. Before he finished speaking, the figures of Qin Zhong, Lin Zhenying, Qiao Shaoxin and other disciples walked out. Master, second uncle. Su Junming nodded and said, go over and sit down. All the disciples acted accordingly. Looking at the continuous stream of disciples coming out of the Hunyuan divine sect, Renwiji and the others understood. Is Chongshan world about to break through? Otherwise, why would we mobilize the troops to bring this large number of people? Chen Xianzang said with a smile. He, that's great. If we achieve the Great Thousand World, the Chongshan world will truly become a reality, Renwiji said. No matter how strong the Zhongqian world is, a Deluo true immortal can destroy it. But if it is the Great Thousand World, even the weakest Great Thousand World, it will be difficult to destroy unless it is Deluo Jingxian, or like Su Junming and others, who has a killing spirit treasure like Qingping Broken Sword. If it is a vast world like the earthly immortal world, which covers an area of tens of millions of miles, only Hunyuan level monks with the help of powerful spiritual treasures can destroy it. Security is no different. In this way, Chongshan world is truly qualified to become everyone's retreat. At this point, I have to say that Wuxian's death was really a bit unjust. If Chen Xianzang didn't have the Qingping sword, he would definitely have been killed. More and more Chongshan disciples walked in. 4,000 years later, after several worlds of accumulation, there are about 3,000 direct disciples of Chongshan sect. Of course, that's not all. Many of the direct disciples have already fallen under the catastrophe, or suffered unexpected events when they went out to practice. This is also a normal thing. The path of cultivating Taoism is inherently difficult. Qualification, understanding, and perseverance are enough, but luck and luck are not. No matter how strong Su Junming is, he cannot protect all his disciples. I saw everyone coming. Let's start. Ao Tian nodded. As the heavenly Dao of Chongshan world, he felt something in his heart. Rich spiritual energy spurted out from the Emperor's Tower, and under his urging, the main world and the 3,000 small thousand worlds made up the last mile. In an instant, billowing tribulation energy spewed out from all directions. From the outside, the mountainous world shaped like a big tree was quickly shrouded in clouds of calamity. Rumble. The calamity clouds became denser and denser, and the thunderous sound like war drums also became one. Chongshan disciples in the world cannot see the sky thunder, but they can sense the aura that destroys the heaven and the earth, and the chill that spans the heaven and the earth. Disciples who have just started in the past 2000 years have never experienced this kind of situation. But when he saw his elders sitting cross-legged and meditating like old monks in meditation, they didn't dare to say anything and watched the situation quietly. Sudden, an extremely powerful purple light appeared in the sky. This light was so strong that it even suppressed the sun in mid-air. Next moment, the whole world trembled. Immediately afterwards, a deafening roar rolled in. It felt as if there was a huge and unparalleled demon god wielding a heavy hammer to attack the mountainous world. Soon, the strong vibration gradually subsided. But this is only the beginning. If you want to advance to the great thousand world in the middle thousand world, you need to survive 7 or 49 great cave divine thunders. The power of each thunderbolt is enough to kill Deluo Tianxian. And it becomes more powerful the further it goes. Shua, Su Junming, Renwuji, Long Di, Ao Tian, Suda, Chen Xianzang came outside the world. What they saw was an indescribable sight. A giant tree spread out for hundreds of millions of miles, standing tall in the chaos. Each of the spotted leaves has hundreds of millions of miles. The light of the stars twinkled among the branches and leaves. From a distance, it looked like a huge galaxy. Thick tree trunks, hundreds of billions of miles in diameter. Huge root system, firmly rooted in chaos. This is a huge tree that is larger than the Milky Way. Tens of billions of miles away, there is a thick lead cloud surrounding this giant tree. The billowing clouds are airtight, and streaks of lavender thunder are like dragons and snakes thousands of miles away, swimming among them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 985. Layers of tribulation clouds cover hundreds of billions of miles, with electric snakes swimming among them, and mighty thunders as dense as a net. The unspeakable aura of destruction weighed heavily on the hearts of Su Junming and the 6 of them. Fourth, can you really survive such a catastrophe? Renwuji swallowed. Even now that he is close to the peak of Deluo Xianxian, he cannot stop a few thunderbolts of this size. Facing the gazes of several people, Ao Tian stood with his hands behind his back and looked confident. After so many years, you are not the only one who has made progress. I am also always preparing for this moment. Boom! A lilac thunderbolt with a diameter of tens of thousands of feet fell from the sky. It was like a huge mountain-cutting axe falling from the sky, hitting the huge tree hard. Boom! An extremely tough light blue shield firmly protected the giant tree in the middle. No matter how violent the thunder was, it could not tear even half of it. How? Ao Tian smiled and spoke with confidence. This is only the second thunder tribulation, don't be careless, the Dragon Emperor said. Haha, of course I won't be careless. Look, I am more confident than me. Everyone looked at Su Junming. He smiled at everyone's gaze. Don't worry, if a Zhongqian world that has been promoted to the extreme cannot survive the catastrophe, then there will never be another Zhongqian world that advances. Moreover, before the tribulation, I have retrained the great formations in Chongshan world. If they are all activated, not to mention Deluo Jinxian, even Hunyuan Celestial Immortal can resist 1 or 2. Boom! Another thunderstorm struck down. Everyone turned their heads and looked subconsciously. The increasingly powerful thunder was once again blocked by the tough light blue shield. The vast light reflected 2 white spots in Su Junming's eyes. Although the heavenly tribulation has the power to destroy the heaven and the earth, the world of Chongshan is not weak either. Now it is only relying on the crystal wall of Chongshan world to resist the catastrophe, without using the formations and heavenly instruments. The full power of Chongshan world is only 20 to 30% released now. There is at least an 80% chance of successfully overcoming the tribulation. Heavenly catastrophes fell one after another. The vibrations in the Chongshan world became stronger and stronger. When the 20 lightning tribulations passed, the entire crystal wall system began to tremble. Fourth, it's time. Su Junming said calmly. Ao Tian nodded. With a finger, the central Shenzhou, the center of Chongshan world, which has expanded to a diameter of hundreds of billions of miles, instantly shot up a gigantic tower millions of feet high. This giant tower is not the Emperor Tower, one of the 3 sacred artifacts in Chongshan world, but the ultimate treasure that Su Junming sacrificed and practiced. At the same time, based on this giant tower, a large formation stretching across the entire central China was born from nowhere. Chaos covering the sky. When the Chongshan world advanced from the cave heaven to the small thousand world, Su Junming set up the formation. As the world of Chongshan grew stronger and Su Junming's formation level improved, he continued to repair and improve it, becoming more powerful. Coupled with the earth energy and spiritual power of the entire central China world, the entire formation exudes an unshakable richness and stability. Ren Wuji, Chen Xianzhang and others instantly felt that after the formation appeared, the power of the entire Chongshan world had become several times stronger. Boom! The thunder calamity was struck down, and the vast divine thunder of the cave had expanded to hundreds of thousands of feet. From a distance, it looks like a purple Milky Way rushing down from the endless lead clouds. The mighty divine power is frightening even from a distance. In an instant, half of the Chongshan world was enveloped in thunder. This is a picture that is absolutely beyond ordinary people's imagination. Thunder and rain fell for hundreds of millions of miles, and there were trees and flowers of fire within 300 billion miles, and the whole world was filled with lavender. Under the blessing of the chaos sky covering formation, the crystal wall of the Chongshan world is violently tumbling. Although it only seems to be a thin layer, its toughness is beyond imagination. No matter how violent the thunder is, it is still difficult to destroy it. Although it was only a few moments, it seemed as if a century had finally passed. The exhausted thunder turned into scattered thunder flowers, and gradually turned into vitality and dissipated in the air. 1, 2, 3, and after the thunder tribulation entered the 30th stage, the intensity of the thunder tribulation increased to another level. Seeing how the Chongshan world is trembling, the chaos sky covering formation alone can no longer stop it. Fortunately, there is more than one world protecting formation in Chongshan world. Under Ao Tian's urging, 4 altars rose into the sky on 4 continents hundreds of billions of miles around central China, Yanzhou in the east, Yangzhou in the west, Suzhou in the south, and Jizhou in the north. This altar is made entirely of bluestone and is very simple. It is millions of miles wide. A vast divine light soars into the sky from the center of the altar. The 4 altars are like 4 giant pillars, supporting a huge array that covers the 4 major states. 4 elephants cutting heaven formation. This is a defensive formation based on the 4 elephant sword formation. Of course, if Ao Tian wanted to, he could also change it to the 4 elephant sword formation. Soon, under his control, the 2 large formations joined together tightly and turned into a 4 elephant formation of chaos that stretched across 5 continents and was dozens of times more powerful. At the moment when the formation was formed, the 31st thunder calamity struck down. The scene that I had seen before appeared again, but this time the scale was larger and more astonishing. The Emperor's Tower in the center of the world continuously sprays out the spiritual energy previously stored. The entire world of Chongshan is still expanding, so the power of the entire formation is also growing stronger. 32, 33, and 40 thunder tribulations have passed, and the power of the heavenly tribulation has once again transformed to a new level. Ao Tian calmly changed his seals, and the world of Chongshan was turbulent. More peripherally, 8 giant tripods rise into the sky from Qingzhou in the east, Yangzhou in the southeast, Jingzhou in the south, Yizhou in the southwest, Liangzhou in the southwest, Bingzhou in the northwest, Yuzhou in Kenbei, and Liaozhou in the northeast. Innate Bagua Array. It is also the third-level formation prepared by Su Junming in Chongshan World. The three formations of chaos covering the sky, 4 elephants cutting the sky, and Xiantian Bagua merged into one, turning into the chaos-cutting heaven and Bagua formation. At this time, the scale of the tribulation thunder had reached an astonishing tens of millions of feet. The vast thunder catastrophe is like an ocean, with surging clouds and tides. One after another, endless. Layer upon layer, stack upon stack, thousands of miles vast. The long wait is finally over. The turbulent thunder finally fell. For a moment, the lavender light filled the entire eyeball. Immediately afterwards, a powerful impact, faster than lightning, roared over the 6 people. Even though they were well prepared, the 6 of them were pushed flying hundreds of feet before they could stabilize their position. My dear, this thunder tribulation is too powerful. Just the aftermath can overturn De Luo Renwuji exclaimed. Fourth, is it really okay? Su De also became worried. Of course, you see. In fact, without Ao Tian's reminder, everyone who had been paying attention to the disaster also discovered it. After half of the Chongshan world was submerged by thunder, it was not destroyed. The powerful formation, combined with the Chongshan crystal wall, still firmly blocked the thunder. Looking at the still intact formation, Renwuji, Su De, Chen Xianzang and others breathed a sigh of relief. After entering the 40th level, the power of the heavenly tribulation has increased a lot. The Dragon Emperor frowned. Su Junming nodded and smiled. Don't worry, we still have a lot of cards. The 41st tribulation fell. The power is doubled. Originally, a layer of formation could withstand 10 lightning tribulations, but now after resisting the 45th thunder tribulation, it was a bit unbearable. Why is the power of the heavenly tribulation so strong? According to this intensity, how many worlds can advance to the Great Thousand? The Dragon Emperor frowned. Su Junming stared at the calamity clouds in the sky and said slowly. Maybe we were wrong. What do you mean? Renwuji asked. The power of the heavenly tribulation is based on the strength of the world. The thunder tribulation we are experiencing now is not only testing the main world of Chongshan, but also the thunder tribulation of the 3,000 small thousand worlds advancing to the middle thousand world. Everyone understood instantly. If we only train the main world to 1 trillion miles and then came to overcome the tribulation thunder would definitely not be as strong as it is now, Ao Tian said with some annoyance. The matter has come to this. There is no point in regretting. Let's activate the last formation, Su Junming said. Ao Tian nodded, and the seals changed. In the world of Chongshan, there are 365 huge giant stars with a diameter of more than 100 billion miles. Among them, the Sun, lunar and purple stars are the most huge, with a diameter of more than 300 billion miles. 365 planets, echoing each other from afar. With the Sun, Taiyan, and Ziwei Sangxing as the formation eyes, a huge and powerful formation was constructed, covering hundreds of millions of miles and surrounding the core of the entire Chongshan world. Weekly formation. Since the last time I visited the Moon Palace in Kongsang Mountain and obtained a record of the ancient Demon Court clan's formation, the Zhoutian star formation, the power of this Zhoutian formation has skyrocketed. Although it is still far away from the legendary Zhoutian star formation, there is no denying its tyrannical power. The 4 formations of chaos covering the sky, 4 elephants cutting the sky, innate Bagua and Great Zhoutian formation are combined into one to become the ultimate world-protecting formation in the world of Chongshan. Great Chaos Zhoutian Star Array. the entire world of Chongshan is shrouded in it. The already tyrannical crystal wall has been improved by more than 10 times with the blessing of this tyrannical formation. At the moment when the formation was formed, the 46th thunder struck down. In an instant, the entire starry sky turned into a sea of thunder. The dazzling purple light enveloped hundreds of millions of miles. Su Junming quickly activated the Hunyuan Divine Gate to block the rolling impact. The power of that wave is like the endless flow of the Yangtze River. I don't know how long it took before it gradually disappeared. But, this is not the end. The 47th thunder calamity was quickly defeated. Simply put, the Great Chaos Jotian star formation, after Su Junming's repeated training, is already powerful enough. But starting from the 45 thunder tribulations, the power of each subsequent thunder tribulation has increased several times. After resisting the 48th lightning tribulation, the formation began to shake slightly. The last one. Ao Tien narrowed his eyes slightly, no longer hiding. The hand seals change like the wind. Next moment, the 3 artifacts of Tiandao in Chongshan world have finally appeared. The Emperor's Tower is shaped like a 12-story octagonal pagoda. In all directions and corners, there are the Emperor seals of the dragon and the tiger. On one side are the sun, moon, and stars, on the other side are the mountains, rivers, and vegetation, on the other side are the techniques of farming and raising livestock, and on the other side are the human Emperor's sword, which is the strategy of unifying the 4 seas. Thanks to the book friend /U0026amp, /U0026amp, wandering /U0026amp, /U0026amp, for the reward of 1,500 starting coins, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 986. The Emperor's Tower, the Earth Emperor's Seal, and the Human Emperor's Sword correspond to the Emperor's Way, the Earth's Emperor's Way, and the Human Emperor's Way respectively. They are all branches of the Emperor's Way. The Emperor's Way is also Ao Tien's main path. Therefore, these 3 artifacts have become important treasures for suppressing the world of Chongshan. If we switch to the prehistoric world, their status is similar to the Chaos Clock, Pangu Flag, and Tai Chi diagram. After the appearance of the 3 huge and unparalleled artifacts, the aura of the Great Chaos Jotian star formation became several times stronger. The tangible blue light shield stretches for hundreds of millions of miles, firmly protecting the mountainous world in the middle. At the same time, the calamity clouds outside the world roared like an angry dragon, rolling towards the center and gathering together. Gradually, a huge thunder eye covering hundreds of billions of miles gradually took shape. The powerful thunder of the Big Hole fills the era. From a distance of trillions of miles, one can clearly sense the overwhelming power of destroying heaven and earth. Ao Lao Si, are your formation and treasure okay? Renwuji said hurriedly. It's not that he doesn't trust Ao Tien, but the thunder in his eyes is really too amazing. He felt that none of 100 Lushan catastrophes could compare to the thunder in this thunder eye. Ao Tien stared hard at Lei Yan, clenching his teeth. He had no time to answer Renwuji. This was all the trump cards he could think of. If he couldn't get through it, Chongshan world would only end in destruction. Volcanoes erupted, the earth cracked, and huge tsunamis flooded the entire world. Except for the monks, hundreds of millions of living beings will die. Then the whole world fell apart and turned into cold rock, drifting in chaos. Maybe it will become part of the new world, or maybe it will be completely destroyed by chaos. Thousands of years of hard work turned into water. So, this is a journey with no retreat. Renwuji's questions were more like letting out the tension in his heart, not caring about whether he could get the answer. Su Junming stared into the distance, like a purple gem like thunder eye. Although he made a hexagram before going through the tribulation in Chongshan world, the hexagram showed that everything went smoothly. but when I really saw the power of this catastrophe to destroy the world, I still couldn't help but feel nervous. Boom! Thunder breaks out. At this moment, the dark universe seemed to change color. At this moment, Su Junming, Long Di, and others truly understood what world development meant. That vast scene, that tyrannical thunder that penetrated into his soul, was tyrannical that he had never experienced before. There is only thunder left in the world. That arc of lightning jumped as fast as an elf. Beautiful, weird. And it carries great danger. I don't know how long it took, maybe a century, maybe it spanned the long river of time, as if the heaven and the earth had decayed, before Su Junming finally heard a hint of spiritual sound in his ears. Take a deep breath. A deep joy surged into my heart. Success. Renwuji's cheers rushed into his ears. At this moment, this guy's nonsense and escapades are not only not annoying, but also endearing. Suda's long and cheerful smile was no longer as harsh as before. Chen Xuanzang's bald head and Dragon Emperor's cold face also made them look a lot more comfortable. As for Ao Tian, as the heavenly Dao of Chongshan world, he still has a heart demon calamity. With the help of the bronze mirror, it is not difficult for him to survive this disaster. Therefore, he is eligible to start enjoying the joy now. Just grinned. Boom. The violent aftermath knocked him away instantly. It's like a boat drifting in the strong wind and waves all night. Feeling dizzy and unable to distinguish things. But it doesn't matter. After successfully surviving the catastrophe, this little embarrassment is nothing. As he expected, Ao Tian quickly overcame the inner demon tribulation. Billions of miles of calamity cloud slowly turned into the aura of creation that filled the sky, flooding into the world of Chongshan. As if taking Shiquan Dabu pill, the world of Chongshan expanded rapidly. The laws of the world are clearly presented. For monks, this is a rare source of great blessing. Chongshan disciples who had experienced it several times began to meditate with their eyes closed and began to gain enlightenment. Su Junming, Long Di, and Renwuji did not participate. The level of heavenly Dao in Chongshan world is not of much help to them. Looking at the rapidly expanding world of Chongshan, Su Junming felt an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. 1 trillion miles, 2 trillion miles, until 8 trillion miles later, the expansion of the main world slowed down. At the same time, the 3,000 small thousand worlds have all advanced into the middle thousand worlds that span a billion miles. This is not the end. The spiritual energy stored in the Emperor's Tower poured out. This is the result of refining the Black Lotus Demon Realm, most of the Kongmalang Mountain, and dozens of Chaos Divine Stones. It is a great tonic for the world of Chongshan. Under the influence of rich spiritual energy, Chongshan Lord's world, which had not expanded very much, became larger and larger, gradually approaching 40 trillion miles. Looking south from the immortal realm of near Earth, 1/5 of the area of the continent is covered. At the same time, the auras of the Emperor's Tower, the Earth Emperor's Seal, and the Human Emperor's Sword rose rapidly. Before Chongshan world advanced, Su Junming decided not to distribute the innate spiritual treasures equally as before. Instead, keep all the innate spiritual treasures created in Chongshan world here. Now there are 6 of them. Even if you exclude Renwuji, who has the world map, and Chen Xianzang, who has the sun and moon wheel, the remaining ones are not enough. The same goes for second-generation disciples. Counting Su Heshu, who was the last to enter, there are already 18 people. Chongshan world can create up to 9 middle-grade innate spiritual treasures. Counting the 6 they had accumulated previously, there is still a lot left. There are more disciples of the 3rd generation of Chongshan, and there are not enough low-grade innate spiritual treasures. Moreover, for them, apart from using them as tools to teach their disciples, they have no way to use them against the enemy. The effect is somewhat useless. In this case, it is better to stay in Chongshan world. In the future, if there are disciples who practice Taoism, they will come to Chongshan world to understand the corresponding innate spiritual treasures. In this way, uneven distribution will be avoided and internal disputes will be avoided. Looking at the world of Chongshan that gradually stabilized after expanding to 40 trillion miles, Su Junming took a deep breath. It's over. Now we finally have a real foundation, Chen Xianzang said. Not quite yet, the Dragon Emperor continued, at least you have to reach the level of the earthly immortal realm to be able to compete with the Hunyuan cultivators. One bite won't make you fat, just take your time, Suda said. He, that's right. In 4,000 years, we have built a world from scratch, which is enough to be proud of, Renwuji said with a smile. There was a pause. Boss, why not just move the chaos clock to the Chongshan world? After thinking for a moment, Su Junming shook his head. The cunning rabbit Sanyeo, Kongsang Mountain where the chaos bell is located, is our most secret retreat. If the world of Chongshan is destroyed and the forces of the earthly immortal world are destroyed, we still have a chance to make a comeback. If we concentrate everything in Chongshan world, once it is destroyed, we will have no way out. Renwuji nodded and said no more. Su Junming waved his right hand, and a small green tree flew over. Renwuji subconsciously reached out to catch it. This plum tree was cultivated by me from the branches of Huangzhong plum. It is an acquired spiritual root. You plant it in Kongmulg Mountain and guide the acquired chaotic energy to water it. When it grows up, the spiritual energy of Kongmalang Mountain will be rich. Most of Kongsang Mountain, which is more than 10 trillion miles away, was used by Su Junming to worship the world of Chongshan. There are still hundreds of billions of miles left. Enough to store the Chaos Clock and Yeyu Palace. The smaller the space, the richer the spiritual energy that Laurel exudes. Coupled with this, the ultimate acquired spiritual root that he spent a lot of creation spiritual water to cultivate, is enough to turn Kongsang Mountain into a blessed place with an aura no less than that of the earthly immortal realm. After explaining Renwuji, with a wave of his hand, a hill covered with clouds and fog flew towards Aotian. It's not of much use to keep this world of sacred mountains outside the sky in my hands. Let's just integrate it into the world of Chongshan. After Aotian took it, he frowned slightly. My dear, is this mirror really a Kunlun mirror? I don't know. But after I survive the catastrophe, I will understand. Why don't we just survive the tribulation in Kongsang Mountain? If that crazy woman Queen Mother 11 comes, we will sacrifice the blood of the ancestral witch and blast her to death with the chaos bell. Renwuji looked fierce. Su Junming smiled and shook his head. The Queen Mother of the West is also a great god in ancient cultivation. During the Battle of Penglai Island, Emperor Dong Huangtai was unable to save her even though he held the chaos bell. Do you think you can kill her now with just one remnant soul? Okay. Let's wait until I survive the catastrophe. And this mirror may not be the Kunlun mirror. After a pause, Su Junming said seriously. Chongshan Academy will be left to you. Don't worry, the Dragon Emperor continued, we will wait for you to come back and defeat Buddhism together, and lead Chongshan to occupy Nanzan Buzhu. He smiled and nodded, his eyes slowly swept over the 5 people, and finally after taking a look at the magnificent world of Chongshan not far away, he walked into the Hunyuan Divine Gate. When he reappeared, he was already on a huge rock. This is a stubborn rock thousands of feet high, floating alone in the endless void. This is what Su Junming found hundreds of years ago after he noticed the changes in the bronze mirror, separated his Dharma body and went deep into the void. This place is far away from the immortal world and the world of Chongshan. Even Su Junming himself doesn't know where he is. He waved his hand to erase the underground teleportation array. Even if the Queen Mother of the West is chasing after her, she won't be able to follow the clues and find the earthly immortal world and the Chongshan world. Of course, if it weren't for the Queen Mother of the West, he would still have the Hunyuan divine sect to communicate between the two, so he could still go back. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 987. Sitting on the solid and smooth rock polished by the turbulent flow of the void, he silently recalled all his arrangements. After making no mistakes or omissions, he slowly opened his eyes. The starry sky in the distance is pitch black, with occasional glimmers of light spread across an unknown distance of trillions of miles. After silently adjusting your breathing, let's start. He formed a seal with his hands, and the seal on his body was instantly released. Huge amounts of energy, blood, and mana soared into the sky. Sensing his aura, billowing tribulation energy flew from the void. In just a moment, it had already covered 30 million miles, like a huge mountain, pressing down heavily. Boom boom. The thunder clouds stirred, like the roar of war drums, and like the roar of all beasts. Dazzling purple thunder rolled and flew from all directions. Su Junming sat cross-legged and stared at the thunder in the sky. Compared to the Lucian catastrophe of Renwuji, Dragon Emperor, and others, with his dual cultivation of martial arts, the power of the heavenly catastrophe is undoubtedly greater. The thunder that gathered to the extreme finally fell down. In an instant, 3,000 feet of thunder catastrophe illuminated hundreds of millions of miles of void. Su Junming was completely enveloped. The jumping arcs were like files tearing apart flesh and blood. But they were all defeated by Su Junming's strong body that he had worked hard to polish over the years. 1 way, 2 ways, 3 ways. The 3 disasters of wind, fire, and thunder fall alternately. Only relying on the physical strength, he survived the 9 rounds ahead. In the next 4 rounds, the thunder, flames, and dark wind became more and more powerful. Because he was worried about the danger caused by the changes in the bronze mirror, he no longer relied on his physical body to resist as before. As his heart moved, a green stone door emerged from above his head. In an instant, it transformed into a body 3 feet tall, protecting him in the middle. The 10th thunder rolls down, and the thunder calamity is like the Yangtze River, endless. The power is so powerful that it is equivalent to the great power of Deluo Tianxian in the early stage, and he can strike with all his strength. If it were other Tai golden immortals, even if they had their own spiritual treasures, they would definitely fall under this tyrannical catastrophe. But Su Junming's understanding of the true path of life has reached the peak of Deluo true immortal. The strength of the natal spiritual treasure corresponds to the monk's understanding of the Great Road. Therefore, the Hunyuan divine sect is now also restricted by the 6 paths, with the top middle grade Deluo Lingbao. Although the heavenly tribulation is powerful, it is difficult to destroy Shenmin and threaten Su Junming. The same is true for the 11th and 12th heavenly tribulations. The final calamity of inner demons can be overcome by directly using the bronze mirror. Seeing the calamity clouds in the sky transformed into the aura of creation, Su Junming's mood became more and more solemn. The mystery that has been weighing on him for hundreds of years is about to be revealed. He did not take back the Hunyuan divine sect. If he really encounters the Queen Mother of the West, his treasures, especially Chongshan residence, must be sent back to Chongshan world as soon as possible. Shua. Rolling spiritual energy descended from the sky. After entering the body, it is instantly converted into mana and chi and blood, the danshan expands rapidly, and the muscles and bones become tougher and stronger. The cultivation that had been stagnant for hundreds of years quickly broke through. His face showed enjoyment involuntarily. Is this Deluo? It's so powerful. When he quickly absorbed the spiritual energy of creation, the bronze mirror also flew out. Bathed in the spiritual energy, the last rust stains on the bronze mirror gradually dissipated. Seeing this, Su Junming's heart moved. The Hunyuan divine gate shines brightly, taking in everything in an instant. Although I don't know if this will work, at least it is a way. Under his increasingly focused gaze, the last bit of rust disappeared. His heart was in his throat. Sudden buzz. Inexplicable trembling, flying in all directions at an unimaginable speed. Before Su Junming could react, the bronze mirror has become 100 feet in size, and at the same time, an extremely complex divine pattern appears on the back of the brilliance. Immediately afterwards, a burst of azure light rose into the sky. Soon, a large black hole was revealed 100 feet above. Space Channel. Su Junming recognized it instantly. Before he could recover, an extremely powerful force spread out from the bronze mirror, enveloped him, and flew in like lightning. Hunyuan Zhenmin instantly shrunk and followed suit. This is the longest space passage Su Junming has experienced since he started practicing Taoism. I don't know how much time passed before he rolled down in an extremely embarrassed posture. The bronze mirror seemed to be squeezed dry. After flying into his danshan, it never moved again. Hunyuan Zhenmin also followed closely behind and was put away by him. The space channel disappeared, and he began to look at the surrounding environment. What a rich spiritual energy! Su Junming was amazed in his heart. The spiritual energy in the earthly immortal realm is already rich enough, but compared with here, it is far behind. The two sides are completely different from each other. And unlike the earthly immortal world, in addition to acquired spiritual energy, this place also has a weak innate spiritual energy. Su Junming instantly became alert. Strong spiritual energy means there are many strong people. In such an environment, there must be many Daluo monks. Maybe there are also Hunyuan monks. Looking forward subconsciously, a vast forest came into view. 1,000-foot-high vines and even trees thousands of feet high overlap each other. With his eyesight, he couldn't even see the edge at a glance. The dense woods are dotted with hills of various colors, large and small, but the shapes are a bit weird. Sudden. Several black shadows fell from the sky. Before he could see it clearly. Clang. The earth-shattering bells resounded throughout the world. This sound. Su Junming's face was filled with disbelief. Turn around slowly. A huge black figure fell from the sky. Not good. Back quickly. Boom. The earth shook violently. A violent impact instantly knocked him thousands of feet away. He finally stabilized his body and looked around in a blink of an eye. A demon god with a height of 60 million feet came into view. The whole body is red, like a bulging puffer fish. Of the 6 giant arms that were millions of feet thick, 4 were broken. Golden red blood sprayed down like a river, soaking the earth. The remaining 2 arms tightly held an arm that was millions of feet long, as if a sapphire staff like a pillar of heaven. Huge wings spread out on the ground. Feathers scattered and scarred, it had obviously been through an unimaginable battle. I can't see the head, and I don't know if it was chopped off or if it didn't exist at all. The chest area was bloody, but it was not fatal. Why does it look like? Brother. The roar of grief and anger shook the world. Su Junming looked up subconsciously. An unimaginable huge mountain appears in the eyes, the sky is high and the ground is ground, huge and huge. From his perspective, he couldn't see how wide the mountain was. Just when he was about to peek at its height, a figure with the head of a python, covered in black scales, with black dragons on its feet, and green pythons wrapped around its hands, with a height of 50 million feet, flew out from the thick lead cloud in the sky, like a huge meteor, crashing heavily on top of the huge mountain. Boom! With an unimaginable loud noise, the huge and exaggerated mountain actually broke from the middle and slowly fell down. Gong Gong's anger touches Buzhu Mountain. Su Junming almost groaned. Isn't this something from ancient times? Am I being deceived by inner demons? Watching the huge mountain rolling down towards where he was. The power of destroying heaven and earth made Su Junming alert and ran away without caring about anything else. After rushing out for thousands of feet, he seemed to remember something and quickly turned back. The 60-million-foot demon god who fell from the sky should be the body of Dijong, one of the 12 ancestral witches, and was taken into the Hunyuan divine sect. He urged Hu Tianxian to perform his magic, then turned around and ran away. The tyranny of the space here is nearly 10,000 times greater than that of the earthly immortal realm. Even if he uses his powerful magic power to activate the natal spiritual treasure Hunyuan divine sect, he can only move 120,000 miles at a time. Fortunately, he can also use Chen Xuanzang's magical power of rewarding good and punishing evil. Only then did he finally escape from the crushing range of the giant mountain. Before he could take a breath. Boom! The world shook violently. The earth cracked, volcanoes erupted, and it was a doomsday scene. At the same time, a turbid current of unknown width fell from the sky. The water vapor between the sky and the earth suddenly rose, and the overwhelming water was like a huge ocean that burst its banks. Damn it! Su Junming's face was ugly. This large water was Deluo level Tianhe true water. It was extremely heavy. With his current cultivation level, if he was hit, he would be seriously injured even if he didn't die. He didn't dare to fly upwards. The evil aura there was so strong that even if he were to stick to it even a little bit, it would be a big problem. So I could only escape outside. As for the broken giant mountain, too big and too heavy. Hunyuan Zhenmen is only a middle-grade Deluo Lingbao, which cannot be taken in at all. And the torrential water is coming from behind. No matter how good the baby is, life is not as important. At this time, he also discovered that the black shadows that first fell from the sky were the corpses of witches and demons. The large and small hills in the forest are also filled with lich corpses. They were not 1 or 2, 100 or 200, but endless as far as the eye could see. Seeing this scene, 4 words appeared in my mind. Lich War. Did Kunlun Mirror send me to the past? He was so focused on escaping that he had no time to think about it, but it would be a pity to give up all those powerful lich corpses on the ground. Wishful body. Hundreds of figures flew in all directions. They all have the projection of the Hunyuan divine sect on their bodies and can use the power of the Hunyuan divine sect. Soon a large amount of harvest appeared in Hunyuan space. Although it was only a drop in the bucket, he was already very satisfied. Slowly, the huge water was neutralized by a large amount of water aura. Although the volume of water became larger, its power decreased. Su Junming stopped running away. He looked up and saw that he was out of the battlefield before flying into the sky. This place should be far away from the battlefield of the Lich War, and the evil spirit has become much thinner. Boom boom. A series of strange sounds came into my ears. Su Junming turned around and looked. Thousands of human monks are working hard to activate their magic power and use earth-based Taoism to build mountains to withstand the rushing water. Behind them are hundreds of thousands of old friends. Clearly they are a tribe. Seeing that the water was getting more and more turbulent, and the mountains they fortified were almost unable to withstand it, despair showed on the faces of countless people. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 988. Su Junming never expected that he had a premonition that after breaking through the Deluo realm, the bronze mirror would undergo a huge change. Instead of attracting the Queen Mother of the West, he was sent directly to the battlefield of the Lich War. Point your finger. The Hunyuan Zhenmen was divided into 4, protecting the tribe not far away that was about to be swallowed by the flood in the middle. Suddenly, Niwen Palace shook. A stream of bright yellow power of merit poured in. Gradually, a yellow jade ruler 3 feet and 3 inches long, 3 inches and 3 inches wide, and 3 inches and 3 centimeters thick took shape. This jade ruler has the sun, moon, heaven, and earth inscribed on one side, and dragons and phoenixes on the other, immortals, Buddhas, ghosts and gods. Although it is just an illusion of merit and attainment, it exudes infinite mystery. Next to this jade ruler, there is a similar jade ruler. Xian Huang merit ruler. Su Junming was excited. A black and yellow merit ruler represents 100 million merits. After condensing one in Chixian Shenzhou, I finally succeeded in condensing the second one today. At the moment when the Xian Huang merit ruler took shape, a strong enlightenment came to my heart. He is already familiar with this situation. Every time he breaks through the realm, the bronze mirror will improve his understanding. Although the time is short, it is indeed an excellent opportunity to improve your cultivation. Bao Yu and Xiao Yi. The way to lock space. The space talisman that had stayed in the Deluo true immortal realm for hundreds of years was finally promoted again. In the Danshan, a space talisman shaped like a mass of distorted space expanded rapidly. Soon he entered the Deluo Xianxian realm. The Hunyuan divine gate, which Su Junming relied on for the way of space, shone brightly in an instant. But something unexpected happened. The green iron staff in Dijiang's hand actually matched it. The rapidly rising space talisman became stronger and stronger, and soon reached the peak of Deluo Xianxian. Just when he was about to attack Deluo Jingxian, the originally clear laws of heaven suddenly became hazy. Nothing forced. After sighing, he opened his eyes. Looking at the grateful human tribe under the protection of the Hunyuan divine sect, their faces were full of gratitude. After smiling and nodding. As the mind moved at will, the Hunyuan divine sect expanded rapidly, turning into 100,000 feet in the blink of an eye. Open. The eight-sided stone door slowly opened. Out of his instinct to seek advantages and avoid disasters, he felt that this would be more beneficial to him. The rushing water found an outlet in an instant and roared towards the Hunyuan divine gate. Since being trained by Su Junming to reach the perfection of the middle grade Deluo Lingbao, the Hunyuan void inside has reached 30 billion miles. It is larger than the main world of the earthly immortal realm. Enough to accommodate a huge amount of water flow. Fortunately, after the true water of the Tianhe River has flowed for trillions of miles, the impact has been reduced a lot, otherwise I would not dare to do it easily. Flying and landing on the Hunyuan divine gate. Try to call Renwuji and others through the connection with the soul. It's a pity that because of the gap in time and space, he can feel the other party's existence, but he can never contact him. Bronze mirror. It was too worn out, and it stood quietly in the center of the Danshan without any movement. Divine consciousness immersed. Magnificent blue-gold restrictions reflected into the sea of consciousness. What kind of restriction is this? Su Junming has never seen such a restriction. It is completely different from the bright purple restraint in Qingping sword. The innate divine taboos in the Tai Chi diagram and the Qian Kun cauldron were not even remotely similar to those left by the Qian Kun Taoist in the Qian Kun cave in Wuji Mountain. But he could feel it clearly. This kind of restriction is more powerful than the Hunyuan restriction in Qingping sword. 1, 2, 3, 5. Sudden. A powerful blue-gold spiritual light rushed into his sea of consciousness. 4 extremely complex divine words that exuded tyrannical meaning were reflected in the sea of consciousness. Although I don't know him. But he understood the meaning. Dian mirror. Isn't it the Kunlun mirror? He always thought that what he got was the Kunlun mirror, but now he realized that it was all what he thought. It wasn't until he advanced to Deluo Tianxian that he revealed his true identity with the accompanying artifact. Name call. Dian mirror. After careful understanding, the abilities such as clairvoyance, qi gazing, blessing understanding, and clairvoyance that were previously available have become hundreds of times more powerful. He didn't know it before, but he discovered it now after the Dian mirror was actually used by him. All these abilities are derived from the 3 magical powers carried by Dian divine mirror itself. Dian divine light, returning to heaven and returning to the sun and everything in the universe. Dian divine light changes according to the heart, can bless understanding and assist in enlightenment. Although it has a single function, it is extremely powerful. When you return to heaven and return to the sun, you can have insight into the heavens, illuminate the world of Jambudvipa, the billions of eternal sand realms, and the fate of all living beings. What is really interesting is the all things in the universe. Something moved in my heart. A ray of mirror light swept across the Hunyuan Divine Gate. The Dian Divine Mirror instantly turned into the Hunyuan Divine Gate. Not only did its shape change, but its functions were the same. This is the universal universe. After copying the restrictions of any magic weapon, it can be transformed into an identical treasure. Su Junming wanted to try if he could turn into a Tai Chi diagram and a Kinkan tripod. But from a distance, I saw a magnificent giant cauldron suddenly appearing in mid-air. After catching the Tianhe true water falling from the sky, it stopped. Soon, there were Tai Chi diagrams, 3 precious jades, a black drum, a 12-grade golden lotus, a wooden stick shining with colorful rays of light, and an unfolded scroll. Appeared in mid-air respectively. The saints came out to clean up the mess. Those powerful breaths, even though they were hundreds of millions of miles away, still made Su Junming breathless. Saint! What an enviable position in heaven and earth! Next is the familiar step of patching the sky. Su Junming is just an ant, so naturally he is not qualified to participate. Although he was able to stop the flood, he was also able to collect some soup and water. Hey, what is that? A huge yellow figure floated in the torrents of water. When I activated the Dian Divine Mirror, I discovered that it was a 3-headed golden lion that was millions of feet tall. Judging from the remaining aura, it was also a Jinxian level demon cultivator at its peak. Because Hunyuan Zhenmen was absorbing a large amount of flood water, the corpses of these 3 golden lions quickly floated here. Then he was swallowed up by Hunyuan Zhenmen. Su Junming's eyes lit up. He rushed out from the core of the Lich War battlefield and knew exactly how many corpses of powerful men were buried inside. If it can be collected, whether it is used for body refining or treasure refining, it will be an unimaginably huge resource. There is nothing we can do about the merit of mending the sky. But we cannot let go of the merit of controlling water. Activate the Dian Divine Mirror, and a bright mirror light falls. Dian Divine Light. Not only can it bless understanding, but now it can also bless magic weapons. Hunyuan Zhenmen instantly rose up, reaching 1 million feet in no time. The Hunyuan void inside also expanded. It has tripled directly to reach 9 quadrillion miles. The true water of the Tianhe River within a radius of hundreds of billions of miles is attracted and rolls in. Lich corpses, large and small, were brought along by the rolling river. Although there was no corpse of the ancestral which he was expecting, the harvest was already considerable. Feeling the rapidly rising water level in Hunyuan Void, Su Junming couldn't sit still. Leaving a Ruyi body to preside outside, he flew into the Hunyuan Void. Now it has become a vast ocean. As soon as his heart moved, a small mountain covered with clouds and fog flew out from his dantian. This is the Chongshan residence where he has practiced for many years. The latter expanded instantly. The infinite power of swallowing and sucking manifested, and the rolling water entered the Chongshan residence, and then poured into the Creation Spirit Island. The Huangzhong plum planted in the Creation Spirit Island is the best innate spiritual root. Innate Polygonum multiflorum is the best innate elixir. There are also Kirin treasure medicine, True Dragon treasure medicine and other acquired elixirs. As well as hundreds of acquired top grade, and innate top grade spiritual roots and elixirs. These treasures are big consumers of spiritual energy. Huangzhongli, in particular, is a big one among the big ones. Moreover, water and wood are interdependent, and as soon as the true water of the Tianhe comes in, it is quickly absorbed and refined by the major spiritual roots. The spiritual roots in the immortal island of creation are only Tei and Yuan Yang grades. Although the water's spiritual energy they absorb is not as good as the major spiritual roots in the immortal island of creation. But there are many of them. After the endless Tianhe true water is absorbed, the rapidly rising water in Hunyuan void finally slowed down. Make a seal with your hands. Shua shua. Big flags 3 feet high appeared behind him. One side is the Jamang divine flag, the other side is the Zurong divine flag, the other side is the Candle Dragon divine flag, and the other side is the Xianhuan divine flag. They are all top middle grade Deluo Lingbao. In addition to the gods and demons on them, these sacred flags themselves were also opened up into a huge world by Su Junming using space Taoism. For example, the Jamang divine flag. Jamang is the god of wood, so inside the flag of Jamang god is a pure world of green wood. Although the size is not as big as Hunyuan Zhenmin, it is still thousands of billions of miles away. The same is true for the three-faced sacred banners of Zurong, Lingxiao, and Zilong. Su Junming's finger gestures changed, and the 4 demon gods jumped down from the sacred flags, each holding their own sacred flags, and separated in 4 directions. Lianji Kinkan Grand Formation. A formation that conforms to the 4 images of yin and yang was quickly formed. Su Junming stretched his right hand forward, the divine inscriptions on his palm flickered, and a bright yin and yang divine light flew into the formation. This is Renwuji's natal magical power, Lianji divine light, which has powerful grinding power. As the deity, he can freely use the magical powers of each of the 7 souls. Therefore, the divine light of these 2 rituals can be used with ease. Using the yin and yang divine light to drive the formation, the infinite water aura is ground and transformed into attributeless dry sky aura, which is then quickly absorbed by the 4-faced divine flag. The rising waters were once again suppressed. A Ruyi body was separated to take charge of the rear of the formation. Another 2-faced flag was sacrificed. The 2-sided sacred flags were the blank sacred flags he had trained and were not bound by demons. As soon as the magic power was activated, the huge swallowing power exploded, and Dijiang's body was taken in. The infinite restriction evolved on its own, and soon the Emperor River Divine Banner, which had the greatest potential in the future and had the talent of Hunyuan, was generated. The second divine flag has no gods and demons for the time being, but Su Junming has decided to use it to bind Gong Gong. Without it, there is simply too much water here. It is easy to build a huge water world. It is very suitable for Gong Gong, the god of water. It would be great if we could get Gong Gong's body. The explosive roar and the figure who without hesitation crashed towards Mount Buzz who came to mind involuntarily. The pillars of the sky are broken, but the earth is intact. The sky tilts to the northwest, so the sun, moon, and stars move away. The earth is not satisfied with the southeast, so the water flows and the dust returns. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 989. The true water of Tianhe flooded most of the wilderness, and of course Su Junming could not stop it. But he has done his best and has a clear conscience. I don't know if it's because he has accumulated too much merit. A huge figure floated in with the current. He has a human body and a snake tail, red hair and a long beard, wearing a gorgeous purple robe, and holding a broken Kixuan chain in his arms. This is Fuxi. Great joy came to my heart. This is a powerful existence in the demon clan that can be compared with the 12 ancestral witches. But after I was happy, a basin of cold water was poured down. Who is Fuxi? The elder brother of the Saint Nuwa. During the conferred God War, because of a few teases from King Zhou, the great merchants were wiped out. If he desecrated his brother's body and knocked down the red hydrangea, his arms and legs would never be able to bear it. Forget it, nothing is as important as life. He rationally sent Fuxi's physical body and his natal Kixuan Qin away. But it wasn't all without success. He left half of the 12 drops of essence and blood in Fuxi's body. A gourd on his waist, which was obviously used to carry things, was also left behind. After putting the harvest away, I looked towards Mount Buzhu. The hole knocked out by Gong Gong has been blocked by the sage's magic weapons such as the Tai Chi diagram and the Zhongshan Shiji diagram. The tilt of heaven and earth also temporarily stopped. Suddenly, a powerful aura came from the north. Old thief Hung Jun, Nuwa, you won't be able to live well even if I die. The powerful aura rose rapidly. Su Junming has also practiced Buddhism for thousands of years. He has seen a lot and understands it at once. This is about to self-destruct. But soon, a more powerful aura suppressed the swelling aura. The strength of this aura far exceeded Su Junming's imagination. The explosive aura was quickly suppressed. Along with the screams that shook the wilderness, everything returned to calm. 3 days later, there was sudden shaking in the 4 directions of southeast, northwest, and northwest. The tilted sky and earth became flat again. Obviously, the limbs of the North Sea black turtle have been refined into the new Optimus Prime. It is rumored that the body of the North Sea black turtle was thrown in the north by Nuwa. You can go and see it if you have the opportunity in the future. The limbs can hold up the sky and the earth, which shows how strong this North Sea turtle is. Moreover, the aura just now spread throughout the ancient world, and his cultivation level is definitely the top Hunyuan power in the ancient world. It's a pity that Hung Jun was in harmony with the way of heaven, and with the help of the power of the entire prehistoric world, he easily killed it. Just when Su Junming was thinking about it, a gigantic green giant cauldron suddenly appeared above Mount Buzhu. Kinkan Ding. In the Kinkan cave of Wuji Mountain, the dojo of the ancient and powerful Taoist Kinkan, the true images of the Tai Chi diagram and the Kinkan Ding, as well as all the restrictions, were left behind. Su Junming has studied it for many years and is very familiar with it. The next moment, a beautiful woman wearing a white robe, with her hair tied high, and a noble aura, transformed. The Dharmakaya of Nuwa manifested 60 million feet long, with human body and snake tail. A golden lotus lamp above the head sheds endless fire. As he raised his hand, 100-foot large multicolored sacred stone was thrown into the Kinkan cauldron. In the beginning, spiritual creatures were created. Although it is not as good as the primordial innate creation fundamental chi he obtained from the chaos divine stone in the earthly immortal realm, it is better because of its huge size. What a rare treasure! It takes 3 years to refine the Kinkan cauldron. In the past 3 years, Su Junming had all the Deluo middle grade spiritual treasures that had been trained to their peak. The Hunyuan divine gate, the 12 gods and demon banners, the creation spirit pond, the Tiangong divine furnace, the Pantuo divine spear, and the Tianji divine ball all survived the catastrophe and were upgraded to top-grade Deluo Lingbao. Even so, the rolling water also filled up the Hunyuan divine gate and the 12 gods and demon banners, which had a much larger internal space after the tribulation. However, 3 years was far from enough for the flood that spread over most of the wilderness to recede. Although there are monks like Su Junming who work hard to eliminate floods, they do not have powerful spatial spiritual treasures. Rivers can only be dredged to allow water to flow into the sea. 3 years later, half of the wilderness is still submerged in water. But the greater threat to the prehistoric creatures is not the flood, but the subsequent epidemic. After the flood there will be a great epidemic. What's more, the Lich War and the death of trillions of liches only exacerbated the epidemic. Su Junming sat cross-legged on the stone futon. A large yellow-brown flag floated in front of him. On the flag is a demon with a human face and an animal body, with dog-like ears, yellow snakes hanging from the ears, and 6 arms. Time is tight, so we can only do this for the time being. When we have enough time in the future, we can replenish his magical weapons. He reached out and grabbed it, and the long flag fell into his palm. Shaking it casually, a desolate roar sounded in his ears. Then the demon god on the long flag opened its ferocious mouth and sucked in a sudden breath, and infinite dim yellow airflow flew from all directions. With every breath absorbed, the aura on the demon god's body becomes stronger. Suddenly he frowned. He waved his hand and put away the Shabi corpse god flag. The sound of footsteps came from far to near. A rich voice came in. "Is the teacher in there?" With a wave of his hand, the restriction was lifted, the two stone doors opened, Su Junming stood up and came to the door. Nan Shanrong quickly bowed and saluted. "Teacher. Let's go." Nan Shanrong did not dare to neglect and quickly followed. The two of them walked one behind the other and soon came to a vast valley. In the center of the valley is a high platform, surrounded by tens of thousands of ancient humans wearing simple clothes and bare chests and shirts. They are the Nanshan clan, a human tribe that Su Junming rescued from the flood. The population of hundreds of thousands can only be considered a small part of the human race. But hundreds of years ago, the demon tribe slaughtered the human race crazily, and most of the human race with a population of tens of millions suffered heavy casualties. On the contrary, they, the small group of humans hiding in the wilderness, survived. "Step forward to the high platform." Su Junming sat cross-legged. Everyone looked at him in awe, bowed and saluted. "See, teacher. Sit down." After everyone sat down, Su Junming began to preach. At this time, although the human religion had been established, the human race, especially small tribes like the Nanshan clan, had very rudimentary practices. Not to mention the Deluo techniques in the earthly immortal realm, even the superficial techniques in Chixi and Shenzhou are more sophisticated than the techniques they cultivated. Therefore, while Su Junming eliminated floods and accumulated merit, he also taught them some exquisite cultivation methods. After all, they are all human beings, so it is normal to find help. Moreover, his years of recruiting disciples and preaching have allowed him to develop the habit of being a teacher. The sermon lasted half a day, followed by time for questions. After answering everyone's questions one by one, it was already 3 days later. "Okay, today's sermon ends here. Nanshan Ye, Nanshan Hua, Nanshan Julan, your medical team all stay, and the rest can go on their own." Everyone did as they were told. In the end, only more than 100 people were left in the field. Except for the clan leader Nanshan Rong, the rest are all members of the medical team. This medical team is Su Junming, a person with the talent of alchemy selected from hundreds of thousands of Nanshan clan. "Take out the epidemic elimination pill you refined." Everyone quickly took out a light blue, spicy elixir from the magic bag. This is the epidemic elimination pill that Su Junming understood. It can get rid of the plague and the effect is excellent. Just looked at it briefly. More than half of the people are qualified. This is understandable. After all, they are all anti-epidemic pills for ordinary people, so it is not difficult to refine them. The herbs provided by Su Junming grew very quickly in the environment rich in spiritual energy in ancient times. Very good. If anyone in the tribe gets plague in the future, use this elixir to treat them. Yes. As Su Junming waved his hand, 4 jade plagues flew into the hands of Nanshan Rong, Nanshan Ye, Nanshan Hua, and Nanshan Giant Forest. If you have anything you don't understand or encounter difficulties in the future, you can contact me through this jade talisman. As the most outstanding people in the Nanshan clan, the 4 people understood instantly. "Teacher, do you want to leave?" Su Junming nodded. He had no intention of recruiting disciples, nor did he intend to promote equality among all people in the Nanshan clan and to study things to achieve knowledge. "We don't even intend to interfere with the development of this world. It's too early. Although the floods have not completely receded, they have been slowly declining. Although the epidemic is violent, there are anti-epidemic pills, which can be cured until the disease is cured. After the Lich War, the 2 tribes suffered heavy losses, and there will be a long period of peace in the wilderness. Therefore, Nanshan's business can continue to grow as long as it develops step by step. Whether I am here or not is no longer important to the Nanshan clan. Teacher's words are wrong. If it hadn't been for teacher's help 3 years ago, our Nanshan clan would have been wiped out. Now that the great kindness has not been repaid, how can we let teacher leave like this? Nanshan Ye said. Yes, teacher. Let us worship you and become enlightened. The remaining 3 people spoke one after another. He smiled lightly and shook his head slowly. I don't need your offerings. If you remember my kindness, practice well in the future, and take care of hundreds of thousands of Nanshan people, that will be the greatest reward for me. Before he finished speaking, his figure had disappeared. Thanks to the book friend Handsome Yang Yuki for the reward of 100 starting coins, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 990. Coming outside, the Hunyuan divine gate, which had transformed into 4, was still sucking in a lot of water. It's just that compared to the initial swallowing of the sea, the current speed is much slower. There is nothing we can do about this. In the past 3 years, both the Hunyuan Genman and the rest of the storage space have been filled up. Now there are millions of spiritual roots on the Good Fortune Spirit Island and Good Fortune Immortal Island, sucking in a large amount of water spiritual energy. Especially those Yuan Yang fairy roots on Creation Spirit Island, with sufficient spiritual energy support, are like weeds, growing too fast. Even if he had already made a lot of anti-epidemic pills for the Nanshan clan, he could not keep up with their growth rate. Fortunately, he had the help of various space formations on the island of creation, which opened up enough places to grow medicine, and with the help of many plant elves, it didn't really turn into a pasture. At this time, he finally understood why the monks in the earthly immortal world yearned so much for the prehistoric world. The resources are really abundant. Boom! The world suddenly shook violently. Su Junming looked up subconsciously. But see you. The Kinkan cauldron, which had been smelted by the flame of the lotus lantern for 3 years, burst out of a large area of 5-color divine light. The hole that was originally blocked by the sage's magic weapons such as the Zhongshan Shiji diagram and the Tai Chi diagram was quickly blocked by the 5-color divine light. Gradually, the divine light dissipated. Large clouds came rushing in and quickly covered the previous break. The saint's magic weapon and the huge Kinkan cauldron suddenly disappeared. Looking from a distance, the sky is high and the clouds are clear, and nothing unusual can be seen. However, Buzhu Mountain is forever missing 1/3. The ancient era of Lich dominance is over. Su Junming sighed. Then came the medieval era when the 3 emperors ruled the world and the 5 emperors rotated, and finally ended with the battle of the gods. The human race also began to move toward glory from here. I'm really looking forward to it. Make a hand gesture. The Hunyuan divine gate, which had shrunk from 1 million feet to 100,000 feet, merged into 4. Without the obstruction of Hunyuan Genman, the water flow quickly swarmed in. But it was blocked by a huge ring of mountains and could not threaten the Nanshan clan inside. When the flood recedes in the future, they can move the mountain and walk out of it. Although the process is a little more troublesome, it can still be done with the abilities of the Nanshan clan monks. Sudden. An extremely rich aura of merit poured into his body. 1 Yuan Yang merit ruler, 2 Yuan Yang merit rulers, and 3 Yuan Yang merit rulers. Soon, 12 Yuan Yang merit rulers were condensed in his sea of consciousness. Then a more powerful divine light of merit burst out. The 12 Yuan Yang merit rulers gathered quickly, within just a moment. A 33-story exquisite tower of merit and virtue appeared in the sea of consciousness. A sudden realization came to my mind. An exquisite merit tower has 3 billion merits. This was not the end yet. The mana and energy and blood in his body increased rapidly with the blessing of merit, and he soon broke through the realm of Deluo Celestial Immortal and entered the realm of Deluo True Immortal. It didn't stop until the later stages. The Lushan catastrophe that should have been overcome was also eliminated by the power of merit. After slowly calming down the skyrocketing mana, Su Junming opened his eyes. Sighed slightly. It would be great if the surge in merit brought enlightenment. Dharma is easy to cultivate, but the great path is difficult to understand. Although there is the blessing of the Dian Divine Mirror, the opportunity to quickly improve one's Taoism is really rare. Moreover, this time the Dian Divine Mirror took him through time and space, which consumed too much. The opportunity to enlighten the Tao that would inevitably arise every time you break through a great realm disappeared this time. This time, the breakthrough to Deluo true immortal without overcoming the tribulation meant that the opportunity to enlighten the Tao had disappeared once again. Between gains and losses, it was hard for Su Junming to be happy. Calm mood. Now, I should be considered a true immortal of fortune. He glanced at the direction of Buzhu Mountain and activated the escape light to fly over. Now the saints are gone. He wanted to see if there were any missing treasures. Although the possibility is unlikely, it is also a good thing to pay homage to the first holy mountain in the world. When I ran out of the battlefield of the Lich War, I was chased by a huge amount of Tianhe Zhenshui and I didn't realize how far I was. Now that I have gone back, I realize how far it is. The prehistoric period is too great. According to some people in the immortal world. In ancient times, the prehistoric world was only distinguished by mountains and seas. When reporting one's home address, it is always a certain cave in a certain mountain, or an island in such and such a sea. It was not until Dao divided the Eastern world into the 9 states of Jizhou, Yanzhou, Qingzhou, Suzhou, Yangzhou, Jingzhou, Yuzhou, Liangzhou, and Yangzhou that more detailed geographical divisions were made in the prehistoric period. In the prehistoric world he knew, in addition to the 9 states in the Eastern world, the Western world had 5 states in the East, West, South, North, and Middle, the 3 states of Yu, Snow, and Ming in the North, and the 3 states of Red, Blood, and Wood in the south. Each big state has the size of 10,000 earthly immortal realms. This shows the vastness of the prehistoric world. Of course, the current prehistoric world would be even greater without the destruction of the conferred God's war. I don't know how long I flew, but finally some different scenery appeared in the vast water. A huge tiger with a body length of millions of feet was floating on the water. Surrounded by a large number of various fish, they tore the flesh and blood of the giant tiger, causing the turbid waves to churn, the dirty blood to fly, and the stench to the sky. Tens of millions of mosquitoes and flies were flying up and down around it. Everyone is full of fat and has a huge body. Seeing this dirty scene, Su Junming frowned. He opened his left hand and a long flag flew out. The light skyrocketed and turned into a giant object millions of feet like lightning. The flagpoles, like sky pillars, are inserted deeply into the water. The demon god with a human face and an animal body on the flag, green snakes hanging from his ears, and dog-like ears is none other than Wu Shebishi, the ancestor of poison. At the beginning, Su Junming came out of the battlefield of the Lich War and used the Hunyuan divine sect to collect the flood. Hundreds of thousands of Lich corpses were obtained. In addition to Dijong and Fu 11, there were also many corpses of the Great Witch. Use their essence and blood to return to the origin through time, and you can easily obtain the essence and blood of the ancestral witches. If it weren't for the fact that Su Junming used Taoist's innate spiritual energy to refine the banners of the 12 gods and demons into silk, it would have taken a lot of time to achieve it. Now he can completely practice the 12 gods and demon flags with the 12 ancestral witches as the demon gods in the flags. Shebishi is the ancestral witch of poison, and epidemic diseases are also a type of poison. Under Su Junming's urging, the demon opened its huge mouth. The extremely powerful devouring force enveloped thousands of mosquitoes and flies. The shrimps, crabs, fish, and turtles that had eaten carrion under the flood were also pulled out and swallowed by Shibishi. These aquatic animals have become the source of disease and cannot be allowed to leave. Otherwise, I don't know how many human races would be unlucky. Finally, there is this tiger monster who reached the realm of Deludo before dying in battle. After swallowing it, Shebishi roared angrily and jumped down from the banner. With the blessing of a large amount of essence and blood, it has become an entity. At the same time, a large number of Shibicorp's Yuanling fragments flew from all directions and merged into his body. It can be seen with the naked eye that the originally dull expression has become more lively. Su Junming saw it and was not worried about its rebellion. He is also proficient in the soul path, and the 12 gods and demon flags are all based on his divided soul. Nothing strange could be hidden from him. Moreover, although the restrictions in the 12 demonic god banners were derived from the Wu clan's 12 capital heavenly gods formation, they are different after all. There are too many personal belongings of Su Junming in it. Even if the ancestral witch revives, his life and death will be in his hands. It can be described as double insurance. The gathering speed of the Yuanling fragments exceeds that of the earthly immortal realm. Is it because of the recent fall? Touched his chin. This was the most reasonable explanation he could think of. The more powerful Shibiji is, the more powerful she is in absorbing the power of the disease. Paths of yellow and black disease energy flew in from all directions and merged into the Shibicorp's god flag. The originally white flag surface has begun to turn brown. Seeing this, Su Junming didn't take it back. The fingertips changed. Shibi's corpse shrank instantly. His appearance is no longer that of a human with an animal body, but instead he has transformed into a tall and strong man wearing an animal skin waistcoat and standing 100 feet tall. The blank sacred flag behind him shrunk to 1,000 feet, suspended behind him, and made a fierce sound. Breathing in the air of disease from all directions, Su Junming slowly landed on his left shoulder. Shebishi took big strides, one step at a time, and continued flying towards Kongsang Mountain. You can often encounter rotten lich corpses in the middle. Shebishi refuses no one who comes. With the support of endless flesh and blood, his strength becomes stronger and stronger, and he gradually reaches the realm of Deluo Xianxian. Those who can't be eaten later will be temporarily stored in the world of divine banners. If we imagine the situation now, there won't be many opportunities to receive so much flesh and blood. Directly urge Hu Tianshen to perform the technique and come closer. This is a bare rock exposed nearly 10,000 feet above the water. The shape was irregular, as if it had been broken somewhere. The gray-white texture is also different from ordinary mountain rocks. Touch it subconsciously. This feeling, thick, solemn, majestic, exuding a powerful will that shakes the sky and the earth. Buzhu Mountain. I secretly guessed in my heart. Back then, Gong Gong was angry at Mount Buzhu, causing the rocks to break apart. In addition to the main body that almost smashed him into a pulp, there were also a lot of bits and pieces. I think this is one of them. Shebishi stalked after him. Su Junming's heart moved, and the body of Shibi's corpse expanded instantly, turning into 1,000,000 feet in the blink of an eye. The thick arms grasped the broken rocks of Buzhu Mountain. After exhaling loudly, the muscles bulged high, and a mountain rock with a height of 700,000 feet was pulled out of the water. Behind the divine flag, a huge black hole opened, filled with extremely viscous poisonous gas. Throw it hard and the rocks fly in. The Shibicorp's god flag was tumbling violently. Although it quickly stabilized, it was also evident how heavy the stone was. In the future, you can use this stone to refine a magic weapon for Shibiji. Soon, he found some fragments of Buzhu Mountain around him, some large and some small. All in all, they are good refining materials. Su Junming was wandering in the vast water. Apart from the corpses of various liches, various aquatic tribes competing for the corpses, and a large number of mosquitoes and flies, there were not many monks in sight. This is also understandable, as the Great Tribulation has just passed. Within tens of millions of miles around Buzhu Mountain, Death aura is everywhere, diseases are rampant, an evil aura pervades, and it has become a desperate place. Who has nothing to do here to hang out? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 991. Time passes year by year. Su Junming walked very slowly because he had to search for the corpse of the lich and prepare for the future sacrifice of the 12 gods and demon banners. At first, he was worried about being discovered, so he didn't take out all the other sacred flags. Seeing hundreds of millions of miles of uninhabited land, he also has less worries. The Zurong Divine Flag, the Zilong Divine Flag, the Jamang Divine Flag, and the Lingxiao Divine Flag were all sent out. As for the Emperor River Divine Banner, because he has obtained the complete Emperor River corpse, at least until the Hunyuan True Immortal, he does not need any flesh and blood to support him. With their addition, Su Junming divided out dozens of Ruyi bodies, and the efficiency of the search instantly increased several times. After living this boring life for 5 years, Su Junming didn't bother to read anymore. After leaving Ruyi to preside outside, I returned to Chongshan residence. Thanks to the merits of heaven, his current cultivation level has reached the late stage of Deluo True Immortal. He has divided into more than a dozen Ruyi bodies, who are also Deluo True Immortals, and he has the help of the high-grade Deluo spiritual treasure in his hand. He can also be undefeated against Deluo Xianxian. As for Deluo Jingxian, their numbers dropped sharply after the Lich War. And even if he encounters it, with his current methods and treasures, he can at least be invincible. If he meets the Hunyuan boss, he will have no choice but to consider himself unlucky. However, with the Dian Mirror in hand and being proficient in the ways of time and space, as long as he is not a saint, he can still escape. Returning to Chongshan residence, I came to the Creation Spirit Pond in the backyard. Looking up, you can see endless water aura falling into the Creation Spirit Island and Creation Fairy Island. And the Creation Spirit Pond. The one that absorbs the most water spiritual energy is Huangzongli, the best innate spiritual root. This is the best spiritual root in Su Junming's hands. With the support of a large amount of spiritual energy, it is already 30,000 feet in size. Although he is far from his peak, he has passed the infancy stage and entered the teenage stage. Although the innate Polygonum multiflorum is also an innate elixir of the highest quality, its ability to absorb and refine spiritual energy is only 1/3 of that of the Huangzongli. But when it comes to the ability to sort out turbidity, it can only rank 3rd. Second only to the Huangzongli is a 10th grade green lotus with a diameter of 100 feet located in the Creation Spirit Pond. It exudes a strong sense of creation. Seeing it, Su Junming sighed inwardly. Since he was brought to the medieval era by the Dian Divine Mirror, the Qingping sword has become the 10th grade green lotus it is now. According to rumors, the 3 pure natal treasures, Bianghuai, Sanbei Yuruyi and Qingping Jian, are transformed from the 12 grade Qinglian. It's just that there has always been a lack of supporting evidence, and I don't know whether it is true or not. Now Su Junming can be 100% sure that this is true. The only pity is that the Qingping sword is incomplete, otherwise this Qinglian should be the 11th grade, not the 10th grade. But it's not bad, at least it's the best innate spiritual root. Moreover, I don't know if it was due to the absorption of too much of the fundamental qi of innate creation in the beginning, and after it was transformed into the 10th grade green lotus, it quickly regained its activity. Now he is absorbing a large amount of refined water spiritual energy to grow. There can only be one Qingping sword in the same world. But if this Qinglian can grow to the 12th grade, it can become a new 12th grade Qinglian. The best innate spiritual roots or the top innate spiritual treasures have their own luck. There is only one thing between Zhou and Tian, and there is absolutely no possibility of a second one. After observing intently for a while, he sat down cross-legged. If you want to grow to the 12th level, it won't happen overnight. With this treasure, it will be easier to understand the way of creation. However, he is not in a hurry to understand the Tao of creation. He stretched out his hand and a divine light flew from behind. Soon, a half-yellow and half-green willow branch appeared in the palm. Looking at it, a trace of emotion could not help but appear on his face. I think that when he got it from Shen Nefenchuo in the Shushan world, he was still just the true immortal Yuan Yang. Now 3,000 years have passed. The past has faded away, but Fenchuo is still practicing hard in the world of mountains. And he has become Deluo now. The last restriction should be lifted. He stretched out his hands slightly, and the surrounding space expanded rapidly, reaching tens of thousands of feet in just a moment. The willow branch that looked no bigger than a small tree turned into a giant tree measuring 3,000 feet. Take a slight breath. With hands like the wind, one seal after another flew into the willow branches. In an instant, the rich greenwood spiritual light spreads. The aura grew stronger and stronger, and the already huge willow branches expanded as if they were blowing up balloons. 4,000 feet, 5,000 feet, more than 10,000 feet in the blink of an eye. After arriving at 30,000 feet, the greenwood spiritual light was already like the bright sun, illuminating the entire creation spiritual pool and everything around it. Suddenly, Su Junming's eyes widened and he drank. Open. Boom. There was a loud noise, and strong vitality burst out. Visible to the naked eye, countless roots grow from the ends of the willow branches. The buds grew longer and longer, and slender willow leaves were pulled out from the branches. It only takes about 10 minutes. The willow branch disappeared and was replaced by a huge willow tree with a height of 30,000 feet. The rich spiritual charm of space spreads out. This willow tree is also a top-quality innate spiritual root that is no less than that of Huangzongli. However, Huangzongli represents the way of time. And this willow tree represents the way of space. Before Su Junming could recover from his joy, a strong will awakened from the depths of the willow tree. This will is even stronger than the 6 saints who appeared after Gong Gong's anger touched Buzhu Mountain. Dense sweat seeped out from Su Junming's forehead. The pressure is too much. It was like an unimaginable huge mountain weighing on my heart. Damn, this guy is too strong. But don't let me give in like this. He roared in his heart. With trembling hands, he slowly formed the seal. The Danshan bronze mirror instantly transformed into a black and white Tai Chi diagram. Its power is actually no less powerful than the Tai Chi diagram that appeared after the collapse of Mount Buzhu. Scold. A powerful yin-yang spiritual light rushed out from the Danshan, and everything was quickly consumed. Of course, it also includes momentum. Su Junming, who had regained his breath, quickly formed seals with his hands. Reward good deeds. Mana is restored instantly. Seal the sky and lock the earth. The entire Chongshan residence began to tremble, with Huangzongli, 10th grade green lotus, innate polygonum multiflorum, Tiangong divine furnace, etc., all blessing. An extremely powerful suppressive force pressed straight towards the willow tree. But what shocked him was that such a powerful force was actually thrown away. The willow tree is clearly right in front of us, we can see it, but we still can't touch it. What a powerful spatial magical power. He also understands the way of space, so he naturally knows why. However, the willow tree's understanding of the way of space was far superior to his, so his suppression was ineffective. Otherwise, even the Hunyuan celestial immortal would have difficulty escaping under the joint seal of so many treasures in his Chongshan residence. He lives in Chongshan, but he has been running a dojo for 4,000 years. The power is so strong that it surpasses all other treasures. But even with such a valuable treasure, it still couldn't control the willow tree, which shows its tyranny. Your Excellency, aren't you coming out yet? Hee hee. Amidst the old laughter, an old man wearing a green willow leaf robe, with white beard and hair, holding a willow stick, slowly walked out of the willow tree. There was not much hostility in the eyes that seemed to have penetrated time, but instead revealed scrutiny and a trace of satisfaction. The left hand shook. A black long sword slowly flew over. Su Junming stretched out his finger and quickly rapped it with the power of a heavy seal. This time, it was easy to seal the long sword. I was slightly surprised. But his subordinate was not slow. He stretched out his hand and the sword fell into his hand. The simple sword body has restrained brilliance. Under the straight calyx of the sword, there are two ancient divine inscriptions. Pangu. He activated the Dian divine mirror and took a look, and found that there were 9 Hunyuan divine barriers inside. Obviously, this is an acquired chaos spiritual treasure that is stronger than the Qingping sword. This is the Pangu sword, the sword of the ancient Emperor Jidu. The ancient human emperor. Although I have vaguely heard of this person's reputation, the records about ancient times circulated in the earthly immortal world are vague, let alone the ancient times. The old man nodded slowly. The Jidu clan is also an outstanding person, but it is a pity that he was bewitched by the demon ancestor Luahu and split the human race. He became a hawk and a dog and was killed by me. This Pangu sword is his natal spiritual treasure. Su Junming was shocked and his expression was extremely solemn. Looking at the grade of the Pangu sword, the Jidu clan of the ancient human emperor is definitely a powerful person at the level of Hunyuan true immortal or even Hunyuan Xianxian. To be killed by this person like this shows how high his cultivation level is. Since you are such a strong man, why do you need to embarrass me, a junior? The old man's deep and old eyes stared straight at him. Although Su Junming felt uncomfortable, he resisted the pressure and did not run away. After a while, I, Yang Mei, once had the cultivation level of Hunyuan Golden Immortal. Are you willing to become my teacher? Apprenticeship. Good. Su Junming shook his head. I already have a master, so I can only live up to the kindness of my seniors. With my teachings, I guarantee that you will advance to the realm of Hunyuan within 1,000,000 years. In addition, this Pangu sword can also be given to you as a gift to become a disciple. Thank you for your kindness, senior. I have been taught by my mentor for many years and will never join another school. In addition to this reason, Su Junming is also afraid of falling into the trap of others. In 4,000 years of practice, he has seen too much. It is obvious that he is recruiting disciples, but in fact he regards his disciples as insidious people. Although this guy named Yang Mei seems to be a righteous person, he knows people well but doesn't know his heart. When he first came out, he wanted to overwhelm him with his momentum. This way, Su Junming became dizzy and became his disciple. You really don't want to? The Pangu sword is a Hunyuan magic weapon, and its power is unparalleled. I'm sorry for my junior's difficulty in obeying my orders. Well. He sighed heavily. In that case, you are willing to accept me as your disciple. Su Junming was confused. There is also this operation. If you fail to accept a disciple, you will become a master. Seeing his surprised look, Yang Mei smiled faintly. I believe you can also see that I am now at the end of my strength. Unless I am reincarnated and rebuild, it is absolutely impossible to return to my original state. If I reincarnate in the body of my remnant soul, I will definitely lose most of my memory. If there is no one to guide me, I don't know how long it will take to come back. You want me to be your pickup person? Yang Mei nodded slowly. The deepest bond between heaven and earth, apart from father and son, is master and apprentice. Unfortunately, if you don't become a master, then I will have to become your master. Su Junming, who understood, glanced at him and said calmly. You are not afraid of me. After you reincarnate and rebuild, I will take advantage of your weakness and destroy you directly. Of course I'm afraid. But since you released the second restriction, I've woken up. Su Junming understood instantly. The old guy emotion has been silently hiding in the dark and peeping at him for the past 2,000 years. A burst of anger burst out from the bottom of my heart. He has always been the only one who plots against others, but he didn't expect that he would be plotted against by others today. Thinking of this, I subconsciously wanted to refuse. Thanks to the book Friend Fireblade for the 1624 starting points reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 992. Su Junming, who was being plotted against, felt angry in his heart and was about to refuse. Before the words came to her lips, Yang Mei knelt down directly. Disciple Yang Mei pays homage to my mentor. The Pangu sword and the top quality innate spiritual root Hollow Willow are the disciple's apprenticeship ceremony. Please accept it from my mentor. If you refuse, you will be silenced. Look at the long sword in his hand, and then look at the treasured top-grade innate spiritual root not far away. It must be said that Yang Mei is a ruthless person and has accurately grasped his weaknesses. Su Junming had no way of rejecting these two top treasures. Staring at Yang Mei, who was kneeling on the ground. With the noble status of Hunyuan Golden Immortal, this person is now kneeling in front of him. The degree of bending and stretching is admirable. Ask yourself, if it were you who had fallen from a high place and now only had a remnant of your soul, you might not have had the courage to become a disciple of a great lord. I see that you have the same aura as the Hollow Willow. I think it should be your true body. Are you really willing to give it to me? My mentor's vision is correct. The Hollow Willow is indeed the disciple's true form, but this willow is the top-notch innate spiritual root. It grows slowly. Without trillions of years of growth, it is difficult to transform. Disciple doesn't want to wait for such a long time. Su Junming originally wanted to see clues from his expression. Later I thought about it and gave up. He has only been practicing for 4,000 years. In front of this ancient monster who has been practicing for hundreds of millions of years, he is as immature as a child. I can accept you, but since you have been awake for a long time, you should know the rules of my Chongshan lineage and have to go through the tests of direct disciples in the past before you can officially enter. Although he wanted to refuse, the temptation of Pangu sword and Hollow Willow made it difficult for him to refuse. Just follow your heart. Teacher, don't worry, my disciple understands. After all, he has been practicing for hundreds of millions of years, and has experienced the two great eras of Taishu and Taigu, and has reached the power of the Hunyuan Golden Immortal. The 365 tests of Chongshan Academy are as difficult as climbing to the sky for others, but for him, it is easy. How do you plan to be reincarnated? This disciple was lucky enough to get a 9-colored divine fetus in the chaos. He should be the root and reincarnate again. 9-colored divine fetus. Su Junming couldn't help but feel envious in his heart. In the spiritual pool of his creation, the colorful divine fetus that gave birth to the Lingming stone monkey could give birth to the innate spirit of Tai Chi. And the 9-colored divine fetus gave birth to the innate gods of Taishu. Yang Mei waved her hand. 100 feet high, shining with rich 9-color divine light, with 12 acupoints on it according to the directions of the earthly branches, and a milky white divine stone, slowly fell into the creation spirit pond. They complement each other with the 7-color divine fetus and the 3-color divine fetus that are also located in the creation spirit pond. There is enough innate spiritual energy in the 9-color divine fetus. If the master is willing, it can be transformed into it. Let's talk about it later. Since you have already prepared, I won't say anything more. When you go through the tribulation in the future, you must not destroy this divine object of heaven and earth. Disciple, obey. I would like to ask, your cultivation level is already at the top in the ancient world, how could you be reduced to the point where you are just a remnant of your soul now? It's not that I don't want to answer, It's just that there is heaven outside the world, and there are people outside the world. The one from Xixiao Palace. There was a hint of disdain on Yang Mei's face. Just a cowardless person. The index and middle fingers of his right hand tapped the center of his eyebrows, and tiny bits of fluorescence flew out, gradually turning into blue diamond-shaped crystals in his hands. I have sealed the memory in it. It will not be too late to open it and check it again in the future when my mentor has advanced to Hunyuan. Remember, you should not covet before Hunyuan, otherwise it will be a disaster rather than a blessing. With a flick of his finger, the crystal slowly flew over. Su Junming reached out to catch it. After examining it for a moment, he nodded. I observe that my mentor also practices the way of space and the way of sealing. The disciple has made some achievements in these two ways. I hand it over to my mentor. I hope it will help my mentor in his future path. Su Junming was happy. The Taoist experience of a Hunyuan golden immortal is simply a supreme treasure to him. I wish my mentor to achieve greatness as soon as possible. After my disciple is born, I will definitely practice well and fulfill my filial piety in front of my mentor. After bowing deeply, his body turned into spiritual light and flew into the nine-colored divine fetus next to him. It soon turned into an egg embryo, slowly absorbing the surrounding aura of creation. A black ruler that exudes a strong sense of space is constantly rotating around the egg embryo. Obviously, this is Yang Mei's natal spiritual treasure. Stare for a moment, then look at the jade slip in your hand. It contains not only Yang Mei's past spiritual enlightenment, but also his spiritual practice. In terms of depth, it surpasses the Taiyin treasure record and Dong Huang Sutra he obtained in the Yeyu Palace on Kongsang Mountain. With these classics, it will be much easier to deduce the Hunyuan chapter of the Chongshan Yuan Yang scripture. He sat down cross-legged and put the Pangu sword across his knees. He did not rush to practice, but activated the Dian Divine Mirror to check the inside and outside carefully. However, he believed that there was no backup plan left by Yang Mei, so he used his spiritual consciousness to practice and mastered this Hunyuan Lingbao. After the Qingping sword returned to its original state, I just lacked a final treasure in my hand. This Pangu sword came at the right time. Although Dian Divine Mirror has the great magical power of all transformations of the universe, he didn't have time to imprint the restrictions of Qingping sword, so he could do nothing. Moreover, he did not intend to expose the treasure at the bottom of the box until he had absolute strength. In addition, this treasure is the key to his return, so there can be no mistakes. Unless absolutely necessary, it will not be used easily. Put the Hunyuan sword in the palm space. Use the Dian mirror to look at the hollow willow next to it. Although he had long guessed that the willow branch came from the best innate spiritual root, he never expected that it was a complete top-grade innate spiritual root. Moreover, it is also an extremely scarce space spiritual root. The degree of cherishment is as good as that of Huang Zhongli. Dian's magic mirror shines through. A huge void world appeared in front of us. This world is as huge as 30,000 earthly immortal worlds. It is indeed a space spiritual root. Although it is damaged, the internal space is still so huge. After admiring for a moment, he didn't notice Yang Mei's backhand. Turning around, he looked at the nine-color divine fetus with spiritual light. If you sincerely join my sect, I will regard you as my direct descendant. If you have other plans, for the sake of these two treasures, I will not embarrass you. If you have deceitful intentions and want to take advantage of the opportunity to cause trouble, don't blame me for being rude. Although Yang Mei was once a Hunyuan golden immortal, now she only has a remnant soul left. If she wants to be reborn, she will inevitably experience the mystery of the womb. I don't know how long it will take to come back from practicing again. Su Junming believed that he would enter Hunyuan before him. Coupled with the help of the treasures in his hands, Yang Mei can definitely be suppressed. He stretched out his hand and carried the hollow willow to the fairy island of creation. Teacher. A shirtless young man wearing a purple waistcoat, a long sword on his back, and a medicine basket on his waist flew over. Looking at the willow in the space with rich aura. Congratulations, teacher, for getting another treasure. Give me a place to tidy up in the core area. Purple Ginseng quickly accepted the order and left. As the first plant elf under Su Junming's command, Zi Shen is also his named disciple. He is also the only disciple who followed Su Junming through time and space and came to the medieval era. The immortal island of creation is blessed by Su Junming's forbidden space law. Although it looks like it is only 100 acres in size, its interior is tens of billions of miles wide. And because it has been baptized by Taoist's innate spiritual energy all year round, as well as the cultivation of many top-grade innate spiritual root elixirs and top-grade innate spiritual root elixirs, the soil on the island has become the most suitable spiritual soil for the growth of spiritual roots. Teacher, it's sorted. After nodding, he raised his right hand. The hollow willow slowly flew down and soon took root in the fairy island. Under the nourishment of rich spiritual energy, there are gradually signs of growth. Looking at the vigorously growing congenital Polygonum multiflorum and Huang Zhongli next to him, Su Junming felt extremely satisfied. Counting the newly acquired hollow willows and the 10th grade green lotus planted in the creation spirit pond, he already had 4 top-grade innate spiritual roots in his hands. Of course, even if they are both of the highest quality, there are differences between them. The most precious ones are undoubtedly the hollow willow and yellow plum. The innate Polygonum multiflorum comes second. The 10th grade Qinglian is the worst. If it is a 12th grade green lotus, it can be compared with yellow plums and hollow willows. Almost forgot. Su Junming's finger formula changes. The next moment, overwhelming water fell from the sky. With a flash of inspiration in the hollow willow, all the water disappeared. Now I can earn a lot of merit from water control, Su Junming said happily. The internal space of the hollow willow is 30,000 times that of the Hunyuan Divine Gate. Even if it cannot contain all the floods, it can at least reduce it by half. This is a great merit. After getting excited, he calmed down quickly. You can do things, but you can't do them this way. In the prehistoric world, including the heavenly Dao Hung Jun, there were 6 saints, and there were even more Hunyuan powers. One Deluo true immortal eliminated nearly half of the flood. Any fool will realize that there must be something fishy. When the time comes, he may not have obtained the merits, but he will be killed first. In the final analysis, it is still too weak. Back outside. With a wave of his hand, Hunyuan Chenman instantly turned into a 1,000,000-foot golden ship. The next moment, endless water rushed in and was taken into the Hunyuan void from the bottom of the boat. And the water flow in Hunyuan void was taken away by the hollow willow. Su Junming stood on the bow of the boat, overlooking the rushing water. That's it, as much water as you can collect. With a thought in his heart, the golden boat quickly sailed in the direction of Mount Buzhu. The vortex formed by the rapid absorption of water flow also disappeared with it. Not long after, I suddenly noticed something strange in my heart. Tens of millions of miles away, Su Junming's Ruyi body had just put away the body of a great demon. A brilliant sword light struck him like lightning. Behind the giant flag was fierce, and a long black knife slashed through it like lightning. Boom! There was a huge earthquake. The scattered sword energy and knife energy, and the aftermath of the explosion, shook 1,000,000 miles around. For a time, the turbid waves surged into the sky, turning the world upside down and lasting for a long time. Su Junming's heart moved and he stood up from the ground. Soon, a sword light flew over, and a middle-aged woman wearing a black robe, with a thin face, white hair and a sinister look appeared in front of her.